joining us here on the KTN News Desk on this 15th day of December 2016. Always a pleasure to have you tuned in. Among top of our stories of this hour, we are still looking at the grilling session of Kipchumba Murkomen's law firm partner Hilary Sigay before the Public Accounts Committee in Parliament, and that is something that is ongoing as they poke holes into a statement he has made, as well as we will be speaking to our reporter Timothy Otieno, who's just attended a press briefing by Judiciary head Justice Maraga, who was outlining some of the things he's going to do to fight corruption even as we get into a new year next year. This and more here on KTN News Desk, but first things first, let's take a look at the highlights. Attention on the judiciary as war on corruption gains momentum. Uhuru and Ruto begin tour of Western Kenya as Raila and Mudavadi follow suit. And doctors stay put as nurses resume work after a 10-day strike. Good afternoon. Our sign language interpreter is Lensa Owino. I am Akisa Wandera. Now, Elgeyo Marakwet County Senator Kipchumba Murkomen was expected to face the Public Accounts Committee today in the ongoing probe of the loss of 1.8 billion shillings at the National Youth Service. However, Murkomen skipped the event and instead sent his law firm managing partner, Hilary Sigay. The lawyer is expected to submit bank statements dating back to 2013, and here is a live proceeding from Parliament as they continue to engage.
Thoughts in order. You've made several submissions from all the members who have talked, and you did not know which question to answer. Some of them were comments. Chair, I listened to you. I have listened to Honorable Aden. I have listened to Honorable Mbadi and all the members who've asked me questions here. And you've rightly put that we are not here to interpret the legal provisions which I have cited. I will not make a further comment. What I'll only say is that every Kenyan, I and you, have a right to interpret that constitution the way they would want. The ultimate person to interpret the provisions of the Constitution is the High Court or the court, that is Judiciary. I will interpret it in a certain way. Honorable Chair, you will have your interpretation, and everyone else will. But ultimately then, you would have the final say if we needed to at the High Court. My submissions with regards to the provisions on the privileges of an advocate client, the entitlement of privacy, the fundamental rights, are based on, as you rightly put, my interpretations. When I quote these provisions, which I actually quoted, Chair, I did not mean to say, for example, when you say that you are not interested with my family or private life or any other communication that you made, not I reproduced the Constitution. I underlined the relevant clauses and sentences which were meant to be here. I did not reproduce to interpret the whole of it. No. I will also not choose to interpret to this committee because we are not all best placed. Now, Chair, there are quite a number of questions which have been asked, and a number of them I had answered in my previous appearance here. I do not think it would be fair to answer them again, because most of which would be questions that came from you and questions that came from Honorable Aden, who were present in my last appearance. There are questions which Honorable Mbadi had asked, and for his benefit, because he was not present in my last appearance, I will attempt to pick some and answer them. He's of course assisted me to say that you have called upon a number of other law firms. Chair confirmed that there are almost 5 who have appeared to explain the reasons why they were called before here. Now, we have been summoned here to shed light on a payment of 15 million that was received by us. Honorable Mbadi, I did explain that. I have equally also explained in my appearance this morning and the part of the afternoon that we are in here, how this money was received by us as service providers. When I make reference to the issue of fishing expedition or guinea pigs, which with every respect for this honorable committee and members, I do not demean, nor do I desire to demean. I know you are all learned people. To the extent that you are sitting in this house as part of this committee, you have the intellect that is desired to have a member sit in this committee. What I was saying is that in our statement, which you are asking us to produce from 2013 to date, where no other client in that statement has been mentioned other than on payments received on 20th of August 2015 from out-of-the-box solution. Those clients are not being investigated. Those clients will not have the benefit to defend themselves. Those clients have never been mentioned anywhere. Do you want me to invite lawsuits from 2013 when our accounts are going to be submitted because those clients will not give me consent? The reason why, Honorable Mbadi, I said I have not produced them is that protection of those clients, not me as Hilary Sigay. As a professional, it is not me. It is the interest, the rights, the...
All right, those are live proceedings from Parliament, and that is the Public Accounts Committee currently grilling the law firm managing partner of Elgeyo Marakwet, Senator Kipchumba Murkomen, and that is Hilary Sigay, who appeared before that particular committee. He was expected to table some bank accounts documents dating back to 2013, but they have remained adamant that they will not. They have, however, presented a statement that the Public Accounts Committee is currently poking holes on. But let's just see what reaction we got from Elgeyo Marakwet Senator Kipchumba Murkomen, who is in the middle of all this. And our reporter in North Rift, Elvis Koskei, caught up with him, the Elgeyo Marakwet Kipchumba Murkomen, of course, and asked him why he chose to skip the PSC proceedings, even after assuring the committee that he will appear. Here is what Murkomen had to say.
I have challenged the committee, Mr. Gumbo, and your committee members, to give confidence to the people of Kenya that you are not using the privileged position as members of parliament to either raise Christmas gifts or to raise campaign money. Publish all your accounts for all committee members. Publish the accounts for your farms and the farms of your associates. Then we as Kenyans will say, Mr. Gumbo and his team are so pursuant of the truth, they have even given us the accounts, and it's so clear that they have never received any money from anybody. I challenge that committee. Okay.
All right, that is Elgeyo Marakwet Senator Kipchumba Murkomen's reaction when he was asked why he chose to speak or to skip the proceedings of the Public Accounts Committee for the second time. But away from that, Chief Justice David Maraga has directed that all applications challenging corruption charges leveled against individuals will be heard only at the Anti-Corruption and Economics Crime Court based here in Nairobi. The Chief Justice, who uncharacteristically talked on the issue of graft, has promised that it will no longer be business as usual when it comes to convicting individuals accused of crimes relating to corruption, telling off the Director of Public Prosecution and the police to stop shifting blame when it comes to tackling the vice.
You will agree with me, ladies and gentlemen, that hardly do you see a senior government official being charged in court, then you see him in hospital the following day. Thereafter, it is a circus. He is sick, we are doing this, we are doing that, we are doing that. Applications are being brought now and again to adjourn cases because somebody is allegedly sick. We know that these are tactics to delay the hearing. We're not saying that they don't fall sick. Occasionally they do. But in most cases, there are tactics intended to delay the prosecution of these cases. What we have agreed as the judiciary is that we are going to be extremely firm. Mr. President, please inform your members that it is not going to be business as usual. We are not going to grant adjournments unless they are deserved. They are genuinely deserved. If counsel is going to take some of these cases, let him be sure that he has time for it. We are not going to allow adjournments because counsel is in another court. If he knew he's in another court, he should not take it. So we are not going to be held. The public, we are not going, as I said, we are not going to take the blame for anybody anymore.
For my part, I will continue to support the effort we are making to increase the tools in the box where we operate in terms of the legislative capacity to fight corruption. I'm happy to confirm to you, sir, we have the bribery bill now at a very advanced stage, and this will increase our arsenal against corruption in a very significant way.
All right, our reporter Timothy Otieno attended that particular session and now joins us live from our City Centre studios with more details. A very good afternoon to you, Timothy. The Chief Justice seems to be talking very tough on this.
Well, indeed, Akisa, he appears to be talking tough. This is the first time we've expressly heard from him on the matter of corruption. Remember, this is a man who is 2 months in office, and of course, one of the things that propelled him to that particular position was that he promised to ensure that cases brought before the judiciary tackling issues of corruption would be finalized. But also what we saw this morning from the Chief Justice was a man, of course, who was sort of annoyed with the fact that the judiciary was bearing the hugest brunt and was getting the most blame for not convicting those who had been brought before it on issues of corruption. And this is what he was saying. He was saying that the judiciary can only work up to the point in which the law allows it, and the fact that everybody deserves fair hearing cannot be overlooked and simply ignored. And one of the things he said this morning was that he actually challenged the Director of Public Prosecutions, Keriako Tobiko, who was at that event, and of course he challenged him to conduct thorough investigations, and that those who would be brought before the courts, they should be brought with sufficient and thorough and complete evidence that can either jail them or free them. Basically what he said was that if the evidence is not enough, then they'll acquit these people. If the evidence is enough, then they'll convict these people. And of course, what Skoloto was saying, that each agency, of course challenging even the Attorney General who was at that event, and of course saying that each agency tasked with the issue of fighting graft in the country can no longer simply shift blame to the judiciary, and that the judiciary was going to, of course, declare some of the stance that it was taking in regards to this. But aside from the fact that he sort of defended the judiciary and said that other organs need to step up their game, he indeed said that within the judiciary itself, he had, of course, brought in changes, one of which was to increase the number of magistrates serving this anti-corruption and economic crimes division. That is a division that will only be based in Nairobi, a branch of the High Court. And of course, he said that he's going to be adding more magistrates to that division. As it stands, the economic crimes and anti-corruption division only has 10 magistrates, of course, headed by Lady Justice Hedwig Ongudi, who of course also spoke and said that they were possibly looking at changing the division's name from the Anti-Corruption and Economics Crime Division to the Integrity Division, and they are hoping that the new boost in terms of more magistrates will help expedite the cases faster. And of course, the Chief Justice also said that he hopes that cases in regards to corruption will not take more than 1 month to be concluded. As you've heard in that soundbite, he said they're not going to be tolerating any more adjournment on cases based on quote-unquote fake illnesses to try and drag it out. And of course, he said that if there is a lawyer who's representing a client who has been charged with corruption, then that lawyer cannot secure another court hearing for a different matter. Basically, that the judiciary will be giving more priority to corruption cases. All this in an effort to try and reduce the backlog and expedite the completion of these cases. Akisa, whether these directives and these new measures will stand, of course, the test of time will be just David Justice Maraga's yardstick, and will, of course, determine whether he'll be successful in this fight against graft.
All right, thank you very much, Timothy. And as you say, let's just wait and see. Timothy Otieno there joining us from our City Centre studios with details of that particular briefing by Chief Justice David Maraga as he was outlining his agenda in fighting corruption as the head of the judiciary. All right, let's now take a short commercial break. Don't go too far. We still have a lot lined up for you here on KTN News Desk. Welcome back. You are watching KTN News Desk. Thank you very much for staying with us. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta has begun his two-day tour of Western Kenya that will include him officially reopening the pan paper mills in Webuye that was closed about 7 years ago. Let's now link up with our reporter, Robert Wanyonyi, who's joining us from Webuye with more details about that particular visit. A very good afternoon to you, Robert. Thank you very much for joining us. Has the president arrived at the pan paper yet?
Thank you very much, Akisa. We are expecting the president here any time from now, maybe in the next 10 minutes, because right now the president and his deputy, William Ruto, are at Kopsiro in Mount Elgon district, whereby they have been issuing title deeds to residents of that area. The president arrived here at Matulo airstrip near Webuye around 11 a.m. and proceeded by a military chopper to Kopsiro. So from there is when the itinerary says that he's arriving here at Pan Paper in a few minutes, then maybe commission this paper factory officially before heading to Navaholo to commission a new road that is set to be tarmacked in Kakamega County, Akisa.
Now, Robert, we understand that former Prime Minister or Opposition Leader Raila Odinga and ANC head Musalia Mudavadi are also expected at the region. Could you just let us in on that a bit?
Yes, the unofficial information that we have is that the CORD leaders and the NASA, they call it Super Alliance, Mudavadi, they're also expected here maybe next week, and they will be addressing residents in Webuye and parts of Bungoma town, also Kakamega County, but it is not yet official because we have just heard from their supporters and party officials that they will be also arriving here maybe to address various issues that they feel are still pending here at Pan Paper. You will remember that there are some former workers whose plight is being addressed by the investor, who says he has taken about 200 of them, but there are still many others who are saying they have been left out and they want their fate to be known. So the opposition leaders might just seize that opportunity maybe to arrive here and try to also gain mileage from the whole issue of the reopening of this paper factory that has now been renamed Rai Paper Mills from Pan Paper, Akisa.
Now, even as the leaders troop to Western Kenya, Webuye specifically, this is a factory that meant a lot for the people of Webuye and Western region at large. What exactly is the reaction of its reopening and, of course, the kind of politics that has revolved around it since it was closed about 7 years ago?
Yes, thank you, Akisa. According to the politics that have been here is that the CORD leaders led by Bungoma Senator Moses Wetangula have been questioning the price of the sale of the factory. They are saying that 900 million was a bit too low. But according to the interview that we have run with the investor, Mr. Jaswandera, he says that the entire factory will be brought down because there are some new machines that are expected to be installed, because today they are commissioning the first production line, and you see there are still 3 more production lines. There is the 3rd production line, the 2nd production line, and the 1st production line. So he says the 3 production lines that are remaining will require that they pull down many of the machines that are now rusted and they cannot be of use, and that means that the investor will have to spend afresh to put modern equipment there. So he has defended the pricing and of the factory. And according to what might maybe culminate after this reopening is that maybe the CORD leaders might still come in to still question about the issue of acquisition and also the price of the factory, and also peg on the issue of the plight of the former workers. Those are the issues that maybe are still clouding this reopening of these pan paper mills. But generally, many residents are happy that now Webuye town that has been a ghost town, many former workers and residents have been beggars and staying in poverty. Now it is going, the reopening might just jumpstart the economy of this region, Webuye included as well, Akisa.
Robert, thank you very much for that. That's our reporter, Robert Wanyonyi, joining us live from Webuye in Bungoma County at the Pan Paper Mills, which we understand has now been renamed to Rai Paper Mills, where President Uhuru Kenyatta, his deputy William Ruto, and other regional leaders are expected to officially open that particular factory. And we close it on KTN Home with that particular story. Thank you very much for joining us. We continue with the Bulletin on KTN News, where we will be taking a look at the situation as doctors continue their strike and nurses go back to hospital, as well as what is happening beyond the region. My name is Akisa Wandera. Sign language interpreter is Lensa Owino. Let's meet on KTN News in a bit.